Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome to our Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita readings. We've been reading from the Chaitanya Charitamrita during the lockdown, and when the lockdown finished, I thought it would be nice to continue doing that as much as I can. So I read from the Chaitanya Charitamrita every second Saturday, and then we've just been reading different parts. And at this particular point, we're in Madhya Lila chapter 8, which is the conversation between Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Ramananda Roy about the essence of existence. So we're going to be continuing today with text number 59. And just before we start, we'll offer some prayers. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Om Agnati Mirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Umilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Vancha Kalpatarupyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhayevacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So before I was just thinking about why have a class? Why even have the class? And I was thinking about a few things that kind of reminded me why I'm having the class. And one was some years ago, some of you may be aware that in Govardhan, my Guru Maharaj, His Grace Burijan Prabhu, along with His Holiness Satchidananda Swami and others from the VIHE in Vrindavan, they have been constructing the Govardhan Retreat Center. So the VIHE is the Vrindavan Institute for Higher Education. It is an organization which is set up to teach people Shastra in a systematic way. Srila Prabhupada wanted that people get these different degrees, as he put it, Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti Vaibhav, Bhakti Vedanta, and Bhakti Sarvabhauma, based on the different scriptures that we have. And so they've been building this Govardhan Retreat Center because they've been having the Govardhan Retreat there at Govardhan for many years, but the facilities that they use are somewhat, they have to rent them. They have to rent the facilities there. And the facilities are not always that comfortable. So they finally acquired some land after much difficulty, because doing anything in India like that is quite difficult. And actually Yamuna Acharya Prabhu, who lives here in Christchurch, he's been quite involved in this project. And now they have the buildings up after much difficulty, dealing with the local authorities, etc. And then a few years ago, it must have been maybe 3 years ago now, they had the groundbreaking ceremony for that project at Govardhan. And different people spoke at the groundbreaking there, and one of the persons who spoke was Dhanadhar Swami, and he said that he was speaking in his talk about how so much effort has gone into this project, and that now that it's finally going ahead, it's a shame that Burijan Prabhu is now so old that he's not going to be around that long to enjoy it and to be involved in it. And after the class, Bhurijan Prabhu spoke to Maharaj and said, I liked what you said, but there was one thing that I wanted to just address. He said that, I don't want to enjoy it at all. And then he looked and he said, it is an offering. It is an offering. So I was thinking about that we want to make an offering regardless of where we are. We may be in a position which is not very evolved spiritually, but the nature of the jiva is jivera swarupaya krishnera nityadas, which means that it is our entitlement to make an offering. In fact, that is our only right. That is our only entitlement, is to desire to please the Lord. Another time, Bhurijan Prabhu said, let the service of saving the world be for whoever's service that is. But let me simply make an offering. Let me simply make an offering. Let the service of saving the world be for whoever that service is, but let me simply make an offering to Krishna. What the jiva has to offer the Lord is his heart, his or her heart, her actually. May you be pleased with this. May you simply be pleased with this. So also one other thing that came to mind was there was one devotee by the name of Suchi Rani Mataji who left her body probably in 2000, it might have even been 1999, 1998, 99, maybe a little later than that, might have been more like 2001. And when she was close to the end of her life, she said this statement, which I always remember, which is, she said, I'm not advanced, but I know who is, and I serve them. I'm not advanced, but I know who is, and I serve them. So that's the thing. And you could actually add to that, I'm not advanced, or I have no love, but I know who I do love. I'm not advanced, but I know who I love. So I serve them. So we make an offering. It's so universally doable. And that's why we're having the class, because we don't know how much longer we have in this particular incarnation, in this particular situation. The material world is an unstable place. So while we have the chance and while we have some health, instead of using our time to try and, exploit more and more, that doesn't work anyway. It doesn't lead to anything sustainable or auspicious. But while we have the chance, we can make an offering to Krishna. So we're giving these classes while we have the chance as an offering to those who we love. We love the devotees who have helped us by showing us a higher reality, by showing us the mercy of the Lord. We love our spiritual master for showing us the depth of bhakti. And we love Krishna for always being our dearmost friend and giving us his mercy throughout our life, throughout our whole life, giving us his mercy, giving us a different way of existence, which is one of love and devotion rather than exploitation and taking and entitlement. So the extent of the jiva's entitlement is to make an offering to the Lord. And therefore, I thought, why give a class? Why even bother? And I thought, because this is the offering that we're making. So therefore, we're taking up this topic between Ramananda Roya and Lord Chaitanya. As we know, Lord Chaitanya is the character of the living force in immortality, as Srila Prabhupada explains at the beginning of the Chaitanya Charitamrita, which means that Lord Chaitanya is Krishna who comes as the devotee. He comes as the devotee to show us what a devotee is, because the perfection of the jiva is a devotee. It's interesting because oftentimes in this material world, as jivas, we want to be God. We want to be the enjoyer and the controller, as if that will give us happiness when we get what we want. But Krishna himself, he's taking the form of the devotee to become the servant. You know, we want to become God, but God himself is wanting to become the devotee. And we have that opportunity. We're entitled to that, to be a devotee of Krishna and to make an offering to him. So we shall continue with this chapter in that spirit of making an offering. They've been discussing, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ordered Ramananda Roy to recite a verse from the revealed scriptures concerning the ultimate goal of life. Ramananda replied that if one executes the prescribed duties of his social position, he awakens his original Krishna consciousness. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu, is worshipped by the proper execution of prescribed duties in the system of Varna and Ashram. There is no other way to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One must be situated in the institution of the 4 Varnas and Ashrams. The Lord replied, "This is external. You had better tell me of some other means." Ramananda replied, "To offer the results of one's activities to Krishna is the essence of all perfection." And then text 60, Ramananda Raya continued, "O son of Kunti, whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer and give away, and whatever austerities you perform, do that, O son of Kunti, as an offering unto me." So this is the verse that we're up to today. Yat karosi yat asnasi, yaj jahosi dadasiyat, yat tapasyasi kuntaya, tat karus vamad arpanam. This is from Bhagavad Gita 927 actually. 926 is Patram pushpam phalam toyam yome bhakti priyachiti tadi aham bhaktuparitam ashnami prayatatmanaha. Text 26 is, if one offers me with love and devotion, a leaf, a flower, a fruit, or water, I will accept it. And then Krishna says this verse, whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer and give away, and whatever austerities you perform, do that, O son of Kunti, as an offering unto me. We'll read a little bit of Srila Prabhupada's purport. The Lord has said that the Varnashrama Dharma is not properly executed in this age of Kali. Therefore, he ordered Ramananda Roy to go further into the matter. So this is a good point, that in this age of Kali, Varnashram Dharma is always fraught with problems, because of our weaknesses. We're not very dharmic in this age of Kali. Therefore, he ordered Ramananda Raya that, offer something further, which is the essence of existence. Because Varnashrama Dharma is very conditional. Dharma is very conditional. There must be something more than that, which is accessible, even in spite of the limitations of this age, the limitations of the material world. Ramananda replied that with this verse from Bhagavad Gita 927, that while remaining in the system of Varnashrama Dharma, one may offer the results of his activities to Lord Krishna in loving service. So we heard in the previous verse that, to following Dharma, one can, it's Varnashrama Dharma, Chatura Varna Maya, it's given by Krishna. I don't remember the exact verse from Bhagavad Gita, but the Dharma is given by Krishna to follow. But then here, Srila Bhaktisinoda Saraswati Thakur, he explained that not just Varnashrama Dharma, but Daivi Varnashram means that one offers those activities to the Lord as an offering. So that's what this verse is pointing to. All that you do, all that you eat, all austerities you perform, all that you offer and give away, do that as son of country, as an offering to me. Make an offering. That's what we've been saying. It's very practical. It's saying, don't just do Dharma, but put heart into that Dharma. Do it as an offering to the Lord. That adds the magic, because that's possible no matter what you are. You can always do that. Naturally, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was asking Ramananda Roy about the execution of devotional service. So, of course, they wanted to discuss devotional service, right? Ramananda Roy first enunciated the principle of Varnashrama Dharma in consideration of materialistic people. However, this conception is not transcendental. As long as one is in this material world, he must follow the principles of Varnashrama Dharma, but devotional service is transcendental. The system of Varnashrama Dharma refers to the three modes of material nature, but transcendental devotional service is on the absolute platform. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu belonged to the spiritual world, and his methods for propagating the Sankirtan movement were also imported from the spiritual world. Srila Narottam Das Thakur has sung, Golokira Premadan Harinama Sankirtan Rati Na Janmila Kene Tai. This states that the Sankirtan movement has nothing to do with this material world. It is imported from the spiritual world, Goloka Vrindavan. Narottam Das Thakur laments that mundane people do not take the Sankirtan movement seriously. Considering the position of devotional service in the Sankirtan movement, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu deemed the system of Varnashrama Dharma to be material, although it aims at elevation to the spiritual platform. However, the Sankirtan movement can raise one immediately to the spiritual platform. Very interesting, isn't it? Because it's saying that the conditional material world is material, and it can't actually take one to the spiritual platform. It aims at elevating one to the platform where one can be regulated in their lives, so that one can then take up the spiritual process of making an offering, which in this Kali Yuga is the practice of Sankirtan. Consequently, it is said that Varnashrama Dharma is external, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu requested Ramananda Roy to proceed deeper into the matter and uncover the spiritual platform. Spiritual platform. So it's interesting. Once Srila Prabhupada quoted one time, I don't remember where it's from, but that there's the spiritual platform. No, there's the material platform. There is the spiritual platform, and then there's the devotional platform. So when we make an offering to Krishna, which is what this verse is saying, whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer and give away, and whatever austerities you perform, do that, O son of Kunti, as an offering unto me. This becomes spiritual because there's some devotion there. There's different types of yoga described in the Bhagavad Gita, but they don't remain real yoga until there's an offering to Lord Vishnu, right? It's not really yoga until Krishna's in the picture, until Vishnu's in the picture. Yagnartat kamano nyatra, lokayam karma bandhana, tad artam karma kuntaya mukta sangha samachara. Work done as a sacrifice must be done as an offering to Lord Vishnu in this material world. Otherwise, work causes bondage in this material world. Therefore, O son of Kunti, perform your prescribed duties as an offering unto him, and in that way you shall always remain free from bondage. So when work is done, means yoga. When activities are done as an offering to Krishna, it becomes yoga. That's the point. Whether it's activities of work, activities of knowledge, activities of renunciation, activities of devotion, all these things, karma yoga, jnana yoga, bhakti yoga, when these things are done as an offering to Krishna, then they become spiritual, they become devotional. So this is what Bhagavad Gita aims at, to create a devotional consciousness in the jiva by revealing the power, the opportunity of making an offering to Krishna in bhakti yoga. So on this particular verse, there's a nice commentary by Sri Keshava Kashmiri, which I'd like to read. Great scholar and Vaishnava. He's from the Kumara Sampradaya. However, there's a story about him with Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which we don't have time for right now, but I'd just like to read what he has to say on this particular verse. Yat karosi yat asnasi yaj jahosi dadasiyat yat tapasyasi kuntiya tat karusmad arpanam. Whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer and give away, and whatever austerities you perform, do that, O son of Kunti, as an offering unto me. Do it with your heart. Do it with love for me. He says, how wonderful and marvelous is the Supreme Lord Krishna's relationship with his devotee. that he is the supreme independent autocrat of all existence, the absolute controller of all creation, but will accept and enjoy the most simple things, like a leaf or flower, and he accepts it wholeheartedly. Now it should be made clear, what is this rare quality possessed by his devotees? What is the rare quality possessed by his devotees that gives them the privilege of becoming his devotee? In answer to this, Lord Krishna emphasizes with the words yat, yad, and yaj, meaning whatever and whichever. In other words, all that one does in accordance with the regulations and injunctions of the Vedic scriptures, whether they are natural or prescribed, whatever is eaten, whatever is prayed for, whatever is performed as a daily obligatory rite or an occasional special ritual, everything can be done as an offering to the Supreme Lord. The conclusion is the rare qualification of becoming a devotee of Lord Krishna is that they completely surrender themselves totally to him, which includes all sense of doership. I like that sentence. The conclusion is that the rare qualification of becoming a devotee of Lord Krishna is that they completely surrender themselves totally to him, including all sense of doership, dedicating their lives to him as the means and the goal, the ultimate attainment they are resolute in, the understanding that he is the absolute controller of every action that manifests in all of creation, and the sole rewarder of all karma or reactions to actions in this life, in the next life, and in all future lives. So with this clear comprehension fully understood, they devote themselves to bhakti, or exclusive loving devotion, dedicating everything to him. So becoming a devotee or a devotional person is not so cheap, because in devotion, that's what's there. That's the value. It's the devotion. It's letting go of all of the security blankets that we hold on to in our doership. I am the doer. I am the controller. I am the architect of my destiny. I will achieve this particular thing by my endeavor and my power, right? It's not that a devotee does not endeavor, but a devotee endeavors to make an offering to the Lord, reflecting on the mercy of the Lord within their heart. And because they love the Lord, because they have some quality of gratitude and love for the Lord, that endeavor is a natural thing. It becomes a natural thing. And how do we increase our ability to make an offering? It's by association with those who are deep in their devotion. When we associate with devotees who are advanced, Krishna Bhakti Janma Mulahaya Sadhu Sangha, Krishna Premi Janma Tenu Punamukya Anga. The root cause of devotional service to Lord Krishna is association with advanced devotees. Therefore, back to the statement of Her Grace Suchi Rani Mataji, I'm not advanced, but I know who is, and I serve them, right? So I'm not advanced, but I know who I love, and I serve them. And by associating with those devotees who carry that love within their hearts, we will naturally increase our devotional capacity. And then as that increases, we can offer that to Krishna. We can rely on that. At the time of our death or in the time of our life, that's all we really have to rely on. I was thinking about it the other day when we're leaving our body. Just say, for example, your friend was leaving their body, a devotee. You've got a friend, right? Say you've got a dear devotee friend and they're leaving their body. Are you going to sit beside their bed and say, you're still not good enough? You need to do more. Krishna doesn't accept you unless you're pure. Or are you going to sit beside their bed and you're going to say, Krishna fully accepts you. Make an offering to him. Go to him. Please him. Remember his mercy. Your friend's dying. We're going to say, go to him. Remember him. Make an offering to him. So let's do that during life as well. When we're associating with our devotee friends, we can encourage them. Krishna accepts you. You can make an offering to him. He loves you as you are. We don't need to wait till someone's terminal to tell them that, now Krishna accepts you. Krishna accepts us now. It's the good news. It's so wonderful. We can chant on our beads, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, reflecting on Krishna's mercy, his love for us. We can cook the Sunday feast prasad. We can give the class. We can go to work. We can change our child's nappy. We can dig the garden, and we can do all of these things, remembering that mercy. Remembering that mercy of the Lord. So, and in this way, everything turns into an expression of devotion. We can fast on Ekadasi from water till midnight if we want to. We can do anything that we feel inclined to do as an offering to Krishna. That doesn't mean we do anything we want. That's not sincere. It's not sincere to say, I'm just going to do whatever I want and that's my offering, right? We want to try and do what Krishna wants and make that our offering. However, that's not always possible. So there's different levels that are explained. That's why we're hearing Varnashram, level 1, follow Dharma, make that your offering. It's very doable. But this is not the perfection of existence. This is not the perfection of existence, right? This is very interesting when you consider this, right? There's something higher than this. There's something higher than offering your attachments to the Lord. That may be practical, right? Because that may be where most of us are at, and that's very fortunate. But there's something higher than this. Therefore, Lord Chaitanya, he's going to reject this as external. He's going to reject this as external in a minute. This is very, when I first read this, I was very surprised. How is it that Lord Chaitanya is rejecting this verse? Think about this verse. All that you do, all that you eat, all that you offer and give away, and all austerities you perform, do that as son of Kunti, as an offering unto me. And Lord Chaitanya says, this is external. How is it possible? It seems like, isn't that the perfection of Krishna consciousness? So, because there's still an attachment to being the doer. There's still an attachment there, right? A devotee is not attached to being the doer. They've given that all up. And they have spontaneous devotion for the Lord, right? It's something that they can't avoid. They have spontaneous devotion for the Lord. This is from Purport to Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10, text 11. Srila Prabhupada says, due to the contamination of material association through many, many millions of births, one's heart is always covered with the dust of materialism. But when one engages in devotional service and constantly chants Hare Krishna, this dust quickly clears and one is elevated to the platform of pure knowledge. The ultimate goal of Vishnu can be attained only by this chant and by devotional service, and not by mental speculation or argument. The pure devotee does not have to worry about the material necessities of life. He need not be anxious, because when he removes the darkness from his heart, everything is provided automatically by the Supreme Lord, who is pleased by the loving devotional service of the devotee. This is the essence of the teachings of Bhagavad Gita. By studying Bhagavad Gita, one can become a soul completely surrendered to the Supreme Lord and engage himself in pure devotional service. As the Lord takes charge, one becomes completely free from all kinds of materialistic endeavors. So our endeavor is somewhat of a limited thing, but when we make an offering to the Lord takes charge. The Lord takes charge. So, in this famous verse of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna advises that one give up their attachment and simply, this is the next verse. Let me see. Let me see. I put some notes here because I was having a look at this last night. Yeah, that's okay. This is the next verse. So we've just been hearing about this verse. Yakrosid asnasi yajjohosi dadasya. Whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer and give away, and whatever austerities you perform, do that as an offering unto me. Text 61, Lord Chaitanya says, this is also external. Please proceed and speak further on this matter. Ramananda Roy replied, to give up one's occupational duties in the Varnashram is the essence of perfection. Occupational duties are described in the religious scriptures. If one analyzes them, he can fully understand their qualities and faults, and then give them up completely to render service unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Such a person is considered a first-class man. As stated in Scripture, Bhagavad Gita 1866, Sarva Dharmam Parityaja, Mame Kam Sharanam Vraja, Aham Tvam Sarva Papapyo Mukshyashyami Masuchaha. Abandon all varieties of religion and simply surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. So this is the essence of Bhagavad Gita. I mean, this is in the last chapter of Bhagavad Gita, in the conclusion of the Bhagavad Gita. Sarvadhamam parityaja mame kam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva pape mukshashimi masuchaha. He's saying, Lord Chaitanya also says that there's something more than this. After hearing Ramananda Roy speak in this way, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, go ahead and say something more. Ramananda Roy then replied, devotional service mixed with empiric knowledge is the essence of perfection. Ramananda Roy continued, according to Bhagavad Gita, he quotes the verse, Brahma Bhuta Prasanat Manasochati Nikanchati Sarma Sarveshu Bhuteshu Madbhaktim Labhate Param. One who is thus transcendently situated at once realizes the Supreme Brahman and becomes fully joyful. He never laments nor desires to have anything. He is equally disposed to every living entity. In that state, he attains pure devotional service unto me. After hearing this, the Lord, as usual, rejected it, considering it to be external devotional service. He again asked Ramananda Roy to speak further, and Ramananda replied, pure devotional service without any touch of speculative knowledge is the essence of perfection. So there's been a few verses quoted here. There's been Sarva Dhammam Parityaja, Mame Kam Sharanam Vraja, Aham Tvam Sarva Papabhu, Mukshyashyami Masuchaha. And then he's quoting this famous verse, Brahma Bhuta Prasanatma. Lord Chaitanya is also rejecting these verses as external. When I first read this, I was like, how can this be possible? That Lord Chaitanya is saying that this verse, Sarva Dhammam Parityaja, is external. How is that possible? Let's read the purport. In this connection, Srila Raghunath Das Goswami instructs in his book Mana Shiksha that we should not perform religious or irreligious activities prescribed in the Vedas. The best course is to engage always in the service of Lord Krishna and Radharani. That is the perfection of everything in life. Similarly, in Srimad Bhagavatam, it is said by Narada Muni, Yada yas yanu gri nanti, Bhagavan Atma Bhavitaha, Sa Jahati Matim Loke, Vede Cha Parinishtanam. When one actually takes to the loving service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he gives up all duties in the material world, as well as all duties prescribed by Vedic literatures. In this way, one is fixed in the service of the Lord. Interesting. Raghunath Das Goswami has enjoined that we should not perform religious or irreligious activities as prescribed in the Vedas. The best course is to engage always in the service of Lord Krishna and in Radharani. So this is very deep and high-level stuff. This is a famous verse in Bhagavad Gita, that when one gives up all their attachments and simply surrenders unto Krishna, this is actually what Krishna is asking. Of course, surrendering to Krishna means different things according to different levels of realization. Some people in lower consciousness, it's more realistic to follow Varnashram and offer the results of their work to him. And for someone who's more advanced, one may offer everything to him, right? But here it's recommended that one just give up all dharma and all their ideas and simply act for Krishna's pleasure. And Prabhupada points out this in the verse to that, in the purport to that verse in Bhagavad Gita. He says, in the 7th chapter, it was said that only one who has become free from all sinful reactions can take to the worship of Lord Krishna. Thus, one may think that unless he is freed from all sinful reactions, he cannot take to the surrendering process. To such doubts, it is here said that even if one is not free from all sinful reactions, simply by the process of surrendering to Sri Krishna, he is automatically freed. There is no need of strenuous effort to free oneself from sinful reactions. One should unhesitatingly accept Krishna as the supreme savior of all living entities. With faith and love, one should surrender unto him. Later on, he says, one should be attracted by the beautiful vision of Krishna. His name is Krishna because he is all attractive. One who becomes attracted by the beautiful, all-powerful, omnipotent vision of Krishna is fortunate. There are different kinds of transcendentalists. Some of them are attached to the impersonal Brahman vision. Some are attracted to the super soul feature. But one who is attracted to the personal feature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and above all, one who is attracted to the Supreme Personality of Godhead as Krishna himself, is the most perfect transcendentalist. In other words, devotional service to Krishna and full consciousness is the most confidential part of knowledge, and this is the essence of the whole Bhagavad Gita. Karma yogis, empiric philosophers, mystics, and devotees are all called transcendentalists. The one who is a pure devotee is the best of all. The particular word used here, masuchaha, don't fear, don't hesitate, don't worry, is significant. One may be perplexed as to how one can give up all kinds of religious forms and simply surrender unto Krishna, but such worry is useless. So, surrender to Krishna. Give up everything and surrender to Krishna. It means different things according to where you're at. But Lord Chaitanya, he's rejecting this still as external because it's not the platform of real existence. And why is that? Well, first of all, the verse is kind of a bribe for those who are still attached to getting something out of the deal. Krishna's saying, give up all your attachments and just surrender unto me. And I shall deliver you from all sinful reaction. Do not fear. You don't have to tell someone who's in love with Krishna that they need to surrender to him so they can avoid the sufferings of sinful reactions. They just love Krishna so much that they can't stop it. And they have no concern for their suffering. And they're not afraid. They've realized that enjoyment and happiness is a concomitant factor of loving devotional service. And they've also realized that they possess nothing separate from him. They're part of him. Their ability to express devotional acts for him originates in his love and mercy. Their dharma and all the structures of their existence, they rest on him. And there's nothing that they own that they can abandon because they see him only. They're not saying, I've got this thing that I have to give up so that I can surrender. There's nothing else but him. That's what a devotee's like. So when it says surrender unto me, it's for people who still lack that consciousness, who are still attached to something that they're holding on to. And so really surrendering to Krishna means giving up all of our shelters and making an offering unto him. So Lord Chaitanya, he's going to say this is still external because you're still attached to what you're getting out of it. You're still seeing that there's me and what I've got, and I'm offering that to you. And in exchange for that, you're going to deliver me from all sinful reactions. As we're going to see later on, that the real platform of devotional service is very, very spontaneous. Now, that doesn't mean that we're there, right? We can't fake that. But it's very nice to hear about it, because by hearing about the spontaneous love, just like earlier when we were reading Chaitanya Charitamrita, we were hearing about the love between Radha and Krishna and the gopis of Vrindavan, and how unconditional and how wonderful that love is between them. And by hearing about that love, it awakens a softness in the heart. It awakens a devotional consciousness within us, and an attraction to that reality, because that's actually what we're made for. The jivas are made for devotional service to Krishna, which means devotional service. It means, sometimes that rolls off the tongue, devotional service. But what we mean is we mean offerings done with a devotional heart. Because, when we have that devotional consciousness, we no longer have the need to take birth in this material world. We're actually in the deathless position when we have that devotional consciousness, because we see everything that's going on as part of Krishna's plan. We see everything that's going on as Krishna's arrangement. And we simply make an offering in any situation in life. When we hear of the stories of the great advanced devotees in Srimad Bhagavatam, sometimes they're going through materially difficult situations, but they're always calling out to Krishna with love and devotion. And therefore they see all situations as wonderful. The more that we develop a devotional consciousness within ourselves, the more fearless we become. Fear is caused by thinking we're not going to get what we were entitled to, that we're not going to enjoy, basically. And in the Srimad Bhagavatam, in one place, Prabhupada says, the greatest act of charity is to award fearlessness to the common man. So this process of Krishna consciousness, which is about developing spontaneous devotional feelings in the heart for the Lord, that is the greatest act of charity, because it awards fearlessness to all persons to the extent that they take it up, to the extent that they capture the real essence. They capture the real meaning, which is that devotional spirit. So we're going to, by hearing about this devotional reality, and by associating with persons who are realized in that devotional reality, we develop that devotional heart within ourselves. And in this way, we advance. The real means of advancement is that association, and by serving those Vaishnavas, and that includes hearing from those Vaishnavas, because we see by that association a different reality, which is a devotional reality. Ramananda Roy then quoted this verse, just becoming, devotional service mixed with empiric knowledge is the essence of perfection. The Supreme Brahman is the essence of perfection, one who's neutral. He never laments, doesn't desire to have anything, is equally disposed toward every living entity. That's the perfection. Lord Chaitanya said that's not the perfection. It's so neutral. Doesn't desire to have anything. Devotees desire to have something very strongly. Devotees desire to please the Lord. Devotees are not, Radharani, she blesses those who are devotees of the Lord. She's not equally disposed toward every living entity. It's not a devotional service is not a neutrality. It's a very dynamic, loving reality. It's just, You see a person who's making an offering to Krishna. Oh, how wonderful that is, right? You see someone who's not making an offering to Krishna. Oh, how can I engage them in making an offering to Krishna? It's not that you see an advanced devotee not lamenting. An advanced devotee is lamenting. They're lamenting that they don't have devotion in the way that they can make an even better offering to Krishna. Now, that doesn't mean they feel bad about themselves, but they want to please the Lord of their lives. They want to please the Lord of their heart. And they take shelter of the Lord by making an offering from where they are. And in this way, their offering improves because Krishna blesses them. He reciprocates with that attempt, just like a child who's drawing a picture. The child's drawing a picture. The father is pleased, and then he helps the child to improve, right? He's not criticizing the child for not being Leonardo da Vinci, a great artist. He sees the child's offering, the effort, and in that way, he helps the child to improve. So if we make that offering, Krishna will help. But it's not a neutral position. It's a very dynamic. The world of rasa is dynamic. It's about drama. And I've told this story before, but one time there was a devotee who wanted some peace in Vrindavan. So she went to the bank of the river Yamuna because, as we know, in Vrindavan, it's very noisy these days. She thought that if I get on a boat and I go out to the middle of the river Yamuna, it'll be quiet there and I can chant peacefully there. So she went down to the bank and the boatmen were there as they stand there near Keshi Ghat. And they said, Madhaya, you come my boat, come, like they do. So finally she selected one boat and she went on that boat out to the middle of the river Yamuna. But there was another boatman who was very enthusiastically wanting her business. And he was saying, no, you come to my boat, come to my boat. And he was so enthusiastic, he rowed behind the boat in his boat and said, you come to my boat, come to my boat. And she got frustrated after some time. And she said, can't you leave me alone? I just want some peace. And he said, Madhaya, oh, you've come to Vrindavan. You want peace. If you want peace, better you go to Vaikuntha. So there's something deep in that rasa, the world of rasa, the world of Krishna consciousness, the world of devotional offerings. It's not without drama. It's not without feelings. It's not without emotion. It's not without favoritism. It's not without lamentation and joy and experience. It's a rich world full of drama. If you look at the pastimes of Krishna with the cowherd boys or with the gopis of Vrindavan, with his mother and father, with his servants, killing the demons, dancing at night with the gopis in the forest of Vrindavan, playing with his friends, killing the Agashura demon. You look at all the stories of Krishna, there's emotion, there's drama. We can give a whole class about rasa tattva and drama. There's 5 primary emotions and there's 7 secondary emotions, and these all mix in different ways to create this different types of emotional experience and drama, which enhances the love between Krishna and his devotees. And they share this bhakti rasa. They share this love that they're sharing of each other. So it's not a neutrality. Supreme Brahman, very neutral, never laments, very sober, very grave, all one. That may be spiritual, but it's not devotional. There's the material platform, there's the spiritual platform, then there's the devotional platform. So this Chaitanya Charitamrita, this is going to describe the heights of the devotional platform. You know, we may be in a position now where we're attached to our job and our bodies and our dharma and our work and all this and our house or whatever, our family. So Krishna's very kind. He says, you can offer that to me. Very practical, and we can make advancement. But really, when we hear this Chaitanya Charitamrita and we hear Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu and we hear all the different shastras given by the Goswamis, we hear Srimad Bhagavatam, it's about hearing about the emotional exchanges, the devotional exchanges and the drama that goes on in love. So that's why Lord Chaitanya is saying, this is external, you know. Abandon all varieties of religion. Just surrender unto me, waving a white flag. I surrender, right? I surrender because I want to give up. I want freedom from my fear. Devotees don't think that. They just think, what can I do for you, my dear Lord? How can I please you? Of course, if we're on that platform, that's okay. We're not criticizing that. We're just saying that the Lord, that Chaitanya Charitamrita is going to describe something which is more spontaneous than that. And it's not neutral like the Supreme Brahman, just be neutral. So then in text 67, it says, Ramananda Raya continued, Lord Brahma, he quotes a verse. He says, Lord Brahma said, my dear Lord, those devotees who have thrown away the impersonal conception of the absolute truth and have therefore abandoned discussing empiric philosophical truths should hear from self-realized devotees about your holy name, form, pastimes, and qualities. They should completely follow the principles of devotional service and remain free from illicit sex, gambling, intoxication, and animal slaughter. Surrendering themselves fully with body, words, and mind, they can live in any ashram or social status. Indeed, you are conquered by such persons, although you are always unconquerable. At this point, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied, this is all right, but still can you speak more on the subject? Ramananda Raya then replied, ecstatic love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the essence of all perfection. So this is very nice because now Lord Chaitanya has accepted this verse as being all right. And this verse actually describes what the platform of sadhana bhakti. Devotees who have thrown away the impersonal conception of the absolute truth, abandoned discussing empiric philosophical truths, and instead are hearing from self-realized devotees about your holy name, form, pastimes, and qualities, giving up those things unfavorable for devotional service, which are distractions, namely illicit sex, gambling, intoxication, animal slaughter. Of course, in Nectar of Instruction, we also hear these different things that are unfavorable. I can't remember the verse. I don't remember the verse right now. I need to revise it. But there are Nectar of Instruction also. And surrendering themselves fully with body, words, and mind. That means they've given up on hope of material sense gratification, providing them shelter in this life. They've given up hope of their power and their effort and their endeavor being the real means. And instead, they're making offerings with their body, their words, and mind. And therefore, they're free. They're floating. They're actually floating in a loving reality. They've given up the hopes of, material conditions making them happy. But if they happen to find themselves in the social status or ashram of grihastha life or whatever it may be, they use that as an offering with their body, words, and mind. Indeed, you are conquered by such persons, although you are always unconquerable. If they find themselves in the reality of sannyas, they use that renunciation, that platform, that position as a place to offer with body, words, and mind. Tainu kampam shushamikshimano bunjana evatmakritam vipakam hridvagvapurvir vidadan namaste jivati mukti pade sadaya bak. My Lord, one who earnestly awaits for you to bestow your causeless mercy upon him, all the while patiently suffering the reactions to his past misdeeds. That means tolerating his current position and offering you with his heart, words, and body offerings. That person is surely eligible for liberation, for it has become his rightful claim. So they're floating. They're actually floating. And at this point, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied, this is all right, but still can you speak more on the subject? Ramananda Raya then replied, ecstatic love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the essence of all perfection. because the personality of Godhead is unlimitedly merciful and unlimitedly loving. He doesn't have a personality like me, which is very conditional. His personality is unlimitedly wonderful. He's the topmost servant of all. Krishna's even serving people who don't even like him, who are rejecting him. I don't serve anybody who isn't favorable to me, right? He serves everyone. He gives everyone air to breathe, food to eat. He gives them sense gratification according to their karma, their destiny. He gives them suffering also to encourage them to see where they're going wrong, to teach them out of his mercy. He's the dearmost friend. And when we develop love for him, this is the essence of perfection. Let's read some purport. In this connection, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur in his Amrita Pravaha Bhasya says that after hearing Ramananda Roy, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Eho Haya. This means that this is the process accepted in devotional service, but there is something more than this. Therefore, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu requested him to explain what was beyond. Simply executing the duties of all varnas and ashrams is not as good as offering all the results of one's activities to the Lord. So we encourage that, right? When one gives up all fruitive activity and fully surrenders to the Lord, he attains svadharma tyag, wherein he abandons the social order and takes to the renounced order. That is certainly better. However, better than the renounced order is cultivation of knowledge mixed with devotional service. Yet all of these activities are external to the activities of the spiritual world. There is no touch of pure devotional service in them. Pure devotional service cannot be attained by empiric philosophy, nor can perfection be attained simply by good association. Devotional service by self-realization is a different subject matter. It is untouched by fruitive activity, for one surrenders the results of activities to the Lord, abandons prescribed duties, and accepts the renounced order of life. Such devotional service is situated on a higher platform than on that of empiric philosophical speculation with a mixture of bhakti. This is verified by Srila Rupa Goswami in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Anyabhilashi shunyam jnana karma dinavritam anakulyana Krishna anushilanam bhakti uttama. One should render devotional, transcendental loving service to the Supreme Lord Krishna favorably and without desire for material profit or gain through fruitive activities or philosophical speculation. That is called pure devotional service. Devotional activities, however, sometimes appear to be impure in the neophyte stage, but in the mature stage, they are completely pure from material activity. Therefore, Ramananda Raya replied that after hearing the last statement of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Prema Bhakti Sarva Sadyasara, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu actually accepted this verse as the basic principle of perfection. That ecstatic love for the Supreme Personality of God, it is the essence of all perfection. One has to practice this principle in order to make further progress. When further progress is actually made, one comes to the platform of ecstatic loving service to the Lord. The first stage is technically called sadhana bhakti, or devotional service and practice. The result of sadhana bhakti must be ecstatic love, attachment for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which is also called prema bhakti. In the neophyte stage, sadhana bhakti includes faith, association with devotees, and practicing devotional service. Thus, one is freed from all unwanted things. One then becomes fixed in devotional service and increases his desire to act in devotional service. Thus, one becomes attached to the Lord and his devotional service. So, he says, pure devotional service cannot be attained by empiric philosophy, nor can perfection be attained simply by good association. A bit challenging. What does that mean? Later on, he says in the purport that sadhana bhakti includes faith, association with devotees, and practicing devotional service. So good association, meaning just association with pious persons or persons who are just good. But devotional association in sadhana bhakti, this is very important. This is actually part of sadhana bhakti. And by that association, one can actually advance in devotion. So he's making the point that when one takes up the process of sadhana bhakti and makes an offering to Lord Krishna, as a result of that sadhana practice, that regular practice. Kriti sadhya bhavet sadhya bhavasa sadhanabhida nityasiddhasya bhavasya prakritim hridi sadhyata. That sadhana bhakti means when one executes devotional service with the senses as an offering. That's called sadhana. That sadhana has the potential to reawaken bhava, which is dormant within everyone's heart. And nityasiddhasya bhavasya, it is the nature of the self. It is actually our true nature. So this chapter 8, Madhya Lila, it's going to become more and more unconditional, right? It's going to become more and more and more unconditional and more deep. It's going to get into the mood between Krishna and the gopis, the mood between Radha and Krishna. It's going to explore spontaneous devotion to the Lord. And Lord Chaitanya and Ramananda Roy are going to become ecstatic, and they're describing this unconditional love between Krishna and his parts and parcels. So to develop that real love in our hearts, it's really our life and soul, you know. It's really what we're alive for. It's so attractive, even if we've only experienced just a drop of it, even if we've only just heard about it, or if we've been fortunate enough to experience something unconditional. In that reality, by association with advanced devotees, it's so attractive that it becomes what we really live for, what we really want. That we give up. We actually give up all our attachments to other things, and we have faith in that. We trust in that if I make an offering to Krishna and try and please him with my heart, with my endeavor, with my sincerity, that he is my Lord, and he will hear that offering, and he will surely protect me. But whatever he wants from me, I accept because I simply wish to please him. And as my spiritual master often says, all the jiva has to offer is, may you be pleased with this. May you be pleased with this. So we may be making offerings of an imperfect nature, but actually just making the offering itself to the best of our ability, with all sincerity, that is actually perfect, because it's doing the best we can with where we are. And by endeavoring in that way, it's not that we should not endeavor, but we can endeavor in that way. Krishna will surely bless us, because he's very kind to those of us who are very small and very powerless. He's unlimitedly kind and unlimitedly merciful. So we are offering to him as best as we can, and in doing so, we've seen actually, we've seen how wonderful everything becomes. Such a wonderful association, such an opportunity to experience the depths of these teachings of Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, hearing these wonderful things, and associating with devotees who are realized in that reality. It's actually, life becomes actually quite nice, isn't it? It becomes very beautiful when we're in that reality. So I recommend, like if we're in a position in this world, if we can find a sangha of devotees where we can consistently take shelter in discussing these things and sharing these things, not just theoretical knowledge and just renunciation and austerity, but actually discussing devotion, sharing realizations of devotion, sharing realizations of appreciation for the mercy of the Lord. I think it's a very nice way to live, and it makes life very very sweet. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna describes the material world as dukkhalaya ashashvatam, a place which is temporary and full of misery. But for one who becomes devotional, the world is vishvam purnam sukhayate. The world becomes a place of happiness. The world actually becomes a place of happiness, so much so that even when you're going through the most difficult times, when you're in that devotional consciousness, or to the extent that you're in that devotional consciousness, you find peace and you find love. You actually feel love in your existence, in spite of the imperfections. So as we continue each day by day, we continue to make an offering to Krishna, knowing that this is very pleasing to him. And in that way, we can continue on in the practice of sadhana bhakti. So I didn't really have so much plan with this talk here, but I like to read these chapters of Chaitanya Charitamrita and try and speak on them. And I thank you all for participating and encouraging me by listening in. And if you have some questions there, I'll maybe type some answers there later. I'm just on my phone there and I can't really see what's being written because it's sort of in the flow, but we can have some discussion on those points if you'd like to. And tomorrow we're going to have Bhagavatam class in the temple, and we'll attempt to say a few words on verse 14 of chapter 3 of the second canto. So if you wish to join at 7:15, please feel free. Offer you all my respectful obeisances. And I appreciate you all for coming on. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripasinubhyavacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Hare Krishna.